Andrew Haug here for AndrewHaug.com, Australia's only dedicated 24/7 rock metal radio station. Here at SOUNDWAVE 2013, we do have Jake and Misha from PERIPHERY. Some might dub them the Gent Godfathers.
No one would do that.
We're not here to label anything. We're just here to talk to the lads. So again, welcome to AndrewHaug.com and back to Australia too. How you doing?
Thanks for having us.
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us.
It's very good to be speaking to you again. And of course, let's talk a bit about PERIPHERY too. The reaction as people sort of nitpicked at more things now, because you guys have some pretty hardcore sort of fans.
We do.
Very loyal too.
They're very intense.
Yeah.
And I think it sort of comes with intense fans. They're very they sometimes have like tunnel vision with stuff. I'd say a lot of people have come around because, you know, obviously we just put out the album that we wanted to put out. I'm sure there was all sorts of expectations, and I'm sure our album did not meet a lot of those expectations, but it's genuinely just music that makes us happy. So a lot of people have just seemed to come around. And I mean, the sales have been really surprising, because I think at this point in Australia and in the States, the sales of the second album have surpassed the first album, even though it's been out for 7 months now. So obviously people have kind of warmed up to it, which is a great surprise for us.
Do you see that as a semi-glimmer of hope, considering how the industry, as we know, has downsized? People don't seem to purchase CDs, or there's a mental sort of subconscious view of, oh, no one buys them, but some people still do, and there's obviously proof that that's the case. But do you ever think it will ever revert back to the way it sort of used to?
No. I know for a fact that it won't.
It probably won't. I think in the States there are a lot of there's a controversy going on currently where ISPs are now taking it upon themselves to police the amount of bandwidth and the type of bandwidth that's being transferred. So it's still up in the air. I want to see what happens, but like if they are successful in canceling people's internet subscriptions or kicking them off the internet if they are downloading records, there is a very slight chance that
I don't think that'll work, because it's like prohibition, you know? Like,
yeah, it is.
It'll just make it annoying.
Yeah.
But it won't stop people.
I don't think it'll stop, but there is a slight chance.
Here's the fundamental problem with this. Sorry. Here's the fundamental problem with this, is that a lot of people, this generation nowadays, has grown up not buying music. So to them, it's not even anything wrong. Like we're sort of from that generation that at one point bought music, and then it's like, oh, it's free. And you might feel guilty or whatever, but you're like, well, you'll justify it however. Like, I'm trying it out, and I'll support it if I like it, whatever. But this new generation, just music is free. So to all of a sudden be told, like, hey, this thing that you've gotten for free your whole life, you should pay for it. They'll be like, that's not right.
Just confuse them.
Right. And I can't even be upset about that, because that's just all that they know. And I think that...
Do you feel they need to be educated on the fact that music isn't made for free? You have to buy guitar strings, drumsticks, you have to equipment.
Maybe.
All that sort
I
of
think
stuff.
there's a more elegant solution to all of this, though.
Yep.
I think that, as with a lot of markets, they are sort of self-regulating. It just takes time. And I think that we're seeing sort of... Because what happens is that necessity, necessity is the mother of invention, you know, and people are figuring out ways to use the rules of the current market and to their advantage, and you'll see that with crowdfunding and things like that. And the reason crowdfunding is successful is because, and I really believe this, I think that the fans still want to support their bands, and I mean, you'll see they still buy shirts, they'll buy pre-order packages, especially if they get something tangible out of it. Yeah. That's almost the battle there. Is like people almost feel like if they're not getting something tangible, why should I be paying money for it? If I could just download it. But you can't download a shirt. You can't download a service like a live show or something like that. So I really think that the way forward is to sort of incentivize these things. And crowdfunding has worked out extremely well. You've seen what happened to Protest the Hero. It's absolutely insane. Do you know about that?
I've heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, they raised like 341. They raised their goal in a day of $150,000. And what this shows is that people actually do want to support, but they just don't understand that CDs are a way of supporting. But if you give them an opportunity, they will take advantage of it. So I think that that's the way forward.
How do you find if the sort of crowd donation, so to speak, happen more and more with bands? You find fans are going to say, you know, if they're not happy with the record, they're kind of owed something. You feel like there might be that selfish element back where
maybe
well,
there's an element of risk at any
Yeah.
point. But now what I feel like is the risk has been kind of shifted from solely the band to maybe equal responsibility on both ends, and that may give a sense of like ownership, but it might be doing it in a healthy way as well. That's one of those things that sort of time will tell.
Well, it is a catch-22 because ultimately you'd think that majority of bands make music for themselves or make them with the people they share and love with in a band.
Right.
And now, as you mentioned about the sort of fan ownership, there might be that sort of subconscious thing of bands thinking, oh, hang on, I love this part, but shit, will our fans like it? You think that
I see what you're saying, but I disagree because
Okay.
I think there's a level of trust. Fans trust in you, just like they trust in your new album. Just like a lot of people with our album, they came around. It like kind of struck them as something different. And it's definitely not the first album, and that was definitely our goal, was not to repeat ourselves.
Yep.
And maybe at first that kind of threw people off, but we've seen a lot of people being like, you know what, that is really a good album. Like, I just had to get used to it. And there's a level of trust. That's why they kept on listening to it. And I know that all my favorite bands, it's kind of like I know that they might not necessarily put out the same album every time, but I do trust some level of ability there. I do trust that there's some X factor, something that can't be quantified that does draw me to them.
Yep.
And I think that will be the thing that sort of holds us all together without actually like destroying the relationship between band and fan.
Okay. Well, again, keep us posted on the forthcoming Periphery material. Have you guys got a couple of little new ideas in the works, or it's too early to
We've
tell?
been demoing, for sure. Yeah.
He's got most of the riffs. For
Now, do you hate? I don't know if I spoke to you, Misha, a couple of years ago. Do you still hate the junt tag? Again, everyone has to sort of box everybody these days for some stupid reason, but
it's funny to us. I mean, we're just a progressive band. We've always been a progressive band, and we were a progressive band before gent was like a word or a thing, So people can label us however they want. It really doesn't make any difference to us. It just categorizes us. So
yeah.
Just as long as they continue to understand that we want to make the music that we want.
yeah,
And then everything, they can call us whatever they'd like.
it really doesn't matter
Yeah.
to us.
And tell them that, and then if you set up the fan donation, no refunds.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for your
All
time and joining
sales
us
are
on
final.
andrewhaug.com. We can get you guys to choose your favourite Periphery track from any of the records. Fight amongst yourselves really quickly and choose a track.
You just choose it, Jake. I love you.
Face palm.
Luck is a constant. Let's do it.
All right, rock and roll. All the best, and keep us posted.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Let's check out some Periphery now on andrewhaug.com.